The Browns have made a bunch of roster moves and cuts, so I thought we'd break that down for a second at-home edition today. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson here with the big news that we all have seen coming for quite some time. Anthony Schwartz, among many other roster cuts today. The end of an era. I don't know what we're going to complain about now on Twitter, right? Well, I do know. It's Cade York. But after the comments that Kevin Stefanski said today about Cade York, which he would not commit to Cade York being the week 1 starting kicker, maybe we have some more roster moves involving number 3 on the horizon. But let's run through the list of names that were cut today, and we'll start with Jakeem Grant being placed on injured reserve. That does it for him in 2023. If you are placed on IR before the roster cut down day, your season is over. Sucks to see. Jakeem Grant signed a 3-year contract and has spent 2 of those 3 years with the Browns on injured reserve. Last year, the Achilles injury. This year, a knee injury. It's a bummer, to say the least, and that's really downplaying it. Don't know what the future has for him, but 2 straight injuries that cut his season short before the season even starts really, spells doom for him in his NFL career, if we're being honest. But Jakeem Grant is out, and the Browns have to go find a new return man. Now, they did take Marquise Goodwin off the non-football injury list, so that's very encouraging to see, because if he was on the NFI list to start the 53-man roster cutdowns, well, he would have been out for the first 4 weeks of the season. So clearly the Browns think he's going to be ready to roll for the first, or at least one of the games in the first 4 weeks of the season. Otherwise, I would believe they would have kept him on the NFI list. Now, some other players that were waived that got the Browns down to 76 players on the active roster, and they have to get down to 53, so 23 more roster cuts to go before Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Cornerback Caleb Biggers, he had that pick 6 yesterday, so hopefully that interception maybe creates enough buzz for him to land on a practice squad, maybe with the Browns or elsewhere, or on someone else's 53-man roster. Linebacker Cam Bright, tight end Miller Forristall, tight end Thomas Greaney, cornerback Gavin Heslop, tackle Derrick Kelly, safety Nate Meadors, wide receiver Anthony Schwartz, of course, and wide receiver Jalen Wayne, and then just outright released Colby Gossett and Jordan Wilkins, which Jordan Wilkins, poor guy. I mean, he was with the first team offense yesterday in Kansas City, but he fumbled twice, and Cleveland was like, well, that's not going to work. So they went out and traded for Pierre Strong Jr. From the New England Patriots. So those were the big roster moves made today. Let me know if you think there is another surprise cut coming, or I shouldn't say if there's another surprise cut, if Cade York is going to get cut. Let's stop beating around the bush here, Matthew. Is Cade York going to get cut? I don't think so. And you might not like the reasoning, but the reality is Andrew Berry is in charge of the roster, and I don't believe he wants to move on from another 2022 draft pick. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just relaying what happens in the NFL, and that is GMs don't want to give up on their draft picks too soon. This might not be a great Colin Cowherd analogy, but think about it this way. If you and your significant other debate all day about where to go for dinner, and you get to win, right? You win and you pick this pizza spot. Well, you get to have that pizza spot, let's say, for the next 4 days, or in this case, 4 years. You don't want to admit after one night or 1 year of having this pizza, okay, that's not good pizza. You're gonna quietly shove it down your throat and put a smile on your face and go, no, it's good. You're going to warm up to it, I promise. One day you're going to like it. Until you are faced with the reality of it's just not good. Let's cut our losses. Let's stop having this bad meal, and let's try somewhere else. That is my very bad Colin Cowherd analogy of GMs don't want to give up on their draft picks 1 year into it, right? They want to see at least 2 years, if not 3 years. Anthony Schwartz got 2 seasons. David Bell's getting 2 seasons. Cade York is going to start, I think, for a second season. Now, if there's another really good kicker like Nick Folk, for example, who is released, and the Browns maybe didn't forecast that, sure, I could see them jumping on that. But the reality is, Andrew Berry is in charge of the roster. He made a 4th-round selection in 2022 on a kicker. I'm not sure he wants to swallow his pride and go, hand up, bad idea. It just didn't work out. Let's move on, because that would be the 3rd draft pick from 2022 that doesn't even make it onto the 53-man roster of the very next season, right? I mean, we didn't have Perion Winfrey or Dawson Deaton making it onto training camp, for crying out loud. That's 2 of 8 picks from 2 of 7 picks from last season. I just think Cade York is going to be given every opportunity to redeem himself. And that means regular season games. So you might not like the reasoning, but that's my best stab at it. Now, Kevin Stefanski did talk to the media today, and he gave a pretty aloof answer about his confidence in Cade York, and he would not commit to him. He said he's a very talented player, and we're going to look, yada, yada, yada. Seinfeld it, he yada, yada, yada it. And maybe if a better kicker comes on the market through the waiver wire, the Browns pounce on that, or just released outright by another team. But for now, Cade York, I think, is going to be the week 1 starter, and I don't think it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. But I put this on my Twitter, at Matthew Peterson yesterday. Daniel Carlson kicked a 62-yarder in the preseason for the Raiders. And I tweeted out, this is why Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to move on from Cade York. And a lot of my replies, I don't think were seeing what I was trying to say, which is Kevin Stefanski was in Minnesota when they moved on from Daniel Carlson after he was 1 for 4 against the Packers. Well, Carlson has been a top 10 kicker ever since with the Raiders. I think that, and maybe Stefanski has just burned that bridge of believing that there can be a turn made, but there was probably a part of Stefanski that goes, I was a part of that huge mistake in Minnesota, and I don't know which side of the fence he was on. Maybe he was advocating to keep Daniel Carlson, or maybe he wanted Carlson gone. I don't know. I wasn't in Minneapolis. But the point I'm trying to make here is Kevin Stefanski has been on a team where they moved on from a kicker that was super talented, like Cade York, with this super duper strong leg really early in his career, and it was not a good move. So I think there is a part of Kevin Stefanski that doesn't want to make the same mistake twice. And there's a part of Andrew Berry that doesn't want to move on from a 2022 4th-round draft pick just a year and a few months later. So for those reasons together, unless this incredible kicker comes on the market that they're not prepared for, I believe Cade York is going to be this team's week 1 starting kicker. And they are probably going to learn the hard way that he is going to miss a clutch kick, because the Browns, not that I care if they went 0-3 or 3-0 in the preseason, they could have literally won all 3 preseason games if Cade York made one of his misses. He had many misses. If he just made one in each game, they would have won all 3 games. Right? Lost to the Commanders, tied to the Eagles, lost to the Chiefs, all by 3 points or less. So I'm sure we're going to see a moment in the regular season where we said, we told you guys back in August online, move on from Cade York, and you couldn't get your pride out of the way. You kept wanting to believe in your draft pick, and he's awesome in practice, and he is great in practice. But I don't think they're going to go for my idea of just anytime the Browns go out to kick, the Jumbotron just plays a clip from practice, and if Cade York makes it in practice, it's 3 points in the game. I don't think the league is going to buy into that. So if that's not going to work, I'm out of ideas. All right, that's going to do it for us, though. Those are the roster moves that have been made. Expect more roster moves tomorrow, and then, of course, leading up to the deadline, Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern, another at-home edition. So if you enjoy just daily Browns news and rumors content, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to get my deck of cards. I know what drawer they're in this time. Okay. I'm back on camera. Here we go. Deck of cards to wrap up the show. I'm going to go with the Ace of Hearts. Okay. These are not very good cards to shuffle, so just take my word for it, please. Okay. Ace of Hearts. 3 of Clubs. I will let you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday evenings. We will meet up tomorrow, probably afternoon when we get some more roster moves made, and we'll break it all down together. So enjoy the rest of your night.